Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my death predictions leading up to The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 8, the mid-season finale, in and around that, who I think will not survive. Alright, and as always, spoiler warning for anyone who's not caught up, which would be up to The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 5, the Abraham episode, basically. Starting to work on some videos for the mid-season finale, starting to do some of my predictions like I usually do every season for what I think is going to happen next. So I'm guessing this mid-season finale, we're going to get a few character deaths. I would think that we would. Of course, we've got the situation with the hospital with Dawn and her group, and it seems, based on the descriptions coming up, that Rick is going to try to work something out with her, and she's probably not going to allow the people she has captured, namely Carol and Beth, go without a fight. Now, this is a tough one for Rick's group because it's in the middle of a city, so if they assault the place, it's going to be pretty tough. There's going to be a lot of walkers around. I mentioned this in my previous video where I discussed Greg and Catero's opinion, or him saying that episode 9 this season, the return episode after the mid-season break, is going to be basically the best. It's going to be, the best there's been so far. So, so for the mid-season finale, and also for that episode, because if he's saying that episode is going to be the best we've ever had, then I'm assuming we're going to get, probably at least one character death throughout it in and around the mid-season finale. So really it's kind of like, a predictions for, both of those episodes leading up to the mid-season finale, and afterwards as soon as we get back, since the story will probably be continued throughout. So, I did a predictions video leading up to season 5 and was pretty good with that one. It was pretty accurate. I did consider Bob to be one of the most likely characters coming into season 5 to be killed off in the series. At this time, this is pretty tough to do, as it always is, but even more so now because there's so many characters. I was just making a list, as I usually do with my predictions, on who I think is most likely, and this is a tough one because we have so many characters in Rick's group, or the survivors really at this point. I should even stop calling them Rick's group. Let's list them all off for our different characters. We have Rick, we have Carl, we have Tyrese, we have Beth, we have Sasha, we have Carol, we have Daryl, Morgan, who of course is not directly with the group yet, and these characters are all spread out, but they're all on the show, right? On the good side, so to speak. On the evil side, of course, we have Dawn, Dr. Stephen Edwards, I believe was his name, who's with her, and Beth, of course. Noah, we've got Glenn, we've got Maggie, we've got Eugene, we've got Tara, we've got Gabriel, we've got Michonne, we've got Judith, and I'm probably leaving out at least one or two that I can't think of off the top of my head. So out of all of those characters, which ones are the most likely to be killed off in and around the mid-season finale for our next major character death? All right, I'm going to go something like this. Of course, the people in Dawn's group are probably your most likely. Dawn herself, top of the list. Dr. Stephen Edwards, he's a character that I've predicted I think might join Rick's group afterwards. So I'm thinking that he may not be killed off right away. I mean, he could be. He could be killed off instantly, and he's definitely near the top of this likelihood list. But I would say he's probably a character that maybe Rick's group could use as a doctor, because they don't have a doctor right now, right? Bob was a medic, Herschel was a vet, but he was really good, so he could work on people too. Of course, both of them are gone now, so they don't really have somebody that can fill that role. So he would be useful to them in the series as a medic or as a doctor. That said, if they go to the Alexandria Safe Zone, which is a location from the comic book series this season, then maybe they could have their own doctor there as well too. So he's pretty likely, because he's on the wrong side, right, in this whole battle between the survivors and Dawn's group. So Dawn and him I'd put on there. Now, the absolute two top ones I'm feeling right now from the survivors group are going to be Beth and Carol. The reason why is because they're both in danger right now. They're both with Dawn, and as we saw with the governor, when you have two characters that are captured, if they follow the same formula as they did for Too Far Gone last year, we could be seeing one or the other being killed off in the mid-season finale, or just returning after the mid-season finale. So who's it going to be between Carol and Beth? Who tops the survivors list for the most likely for me? As a prediction, I'm going to go with Beth this time. I've been predicting she's going to die for like 3 seasons, since season 2, and I still am going to predict that. I still am going to think that she is. For a while there, I was like, no, I don't think so. But now I'm starting to think possibly again, because Carol is so damn interesting at this point. She is just so interesting. Now, she did get some time, though, right? At the premiere, she's had some pretty badass moments. And just like with Merle, when you get a character that has some really badass moments, that has some great stuff, I would say with The Walking Dead, it does increase the probability, the likelihood that they could be killed off at any point in time. That's what I would say. So, yeah. Beth, probably my most likely. Carol, still there, still probable, but I'm a little bit biased because I like the character so much at this time after seeing her, attack Terminus, that I don't want to see her be killed off. But she's still on the list. She's still pretty likely due to the fact that she's in so much danger right now. And I figure either her or Beth, one of the two, I don't see them both getting out of there alive. I really don't. So I'm going to go with Beth most likely, then Carol. Now, in terms of the other characters from Rick's group, like I said, how many? I'm not going to go through every single one here and list them off because there's just too many. But, in terms of the most likely ones, I'd put Tyrese on there somewhere. I feel like he's had some good time this season, and he may have already lost the will to live. As he was talking to Rick when they were burying, I believe the hunters, they were burying them. You have him and Rick and Tyrese's conversation. Tyrese says, "It killed me," and Rick's like, "No, it didn't." But it may have. I guess we'll have to see. What kind of will to survive does he have? He's not a great shot, right? He's tough as nails in terms of a physical hand-to-hand fight. But, we also know that he's not willing to pull the trigger 100% and kill. And in that type of world, in zombie apocalypse, you don't really have much of a choice if you're facing a surviving group like the Hunters or like Dawn's group. You really don't have much of a choice. You have to. It's like the governor says, kill or be killed, of course, right? So, and he's right. I think he's right, to tell you the truth. So there's that. In terms of the others, with Morgan, he's just returning, so I highly doubt it. With Daryl, people have been kind of rumoring that for a while, but he's such a fan favorite, I still kind of doubt it. A lot of the others, Rick, Carl, I think are safe. Sasha, maybe Sasha. She could be pretty likely because she just lost Bob, but I'd like to see what they do with her now that she's kind of going through that sorrow. A lot of the characters in The Walking Dead, they have to go through that kind of sorrowful period where they've lost somebody and now they have to find a new reason. Now they have to continue on. So, yeah, let's see what they do with Sasha. I'm not predicting for sure she's going to die, but I do think she's somewhere, on this list in terms of the more likely characters. Let's see who else we got. So there's Noah. He's a new character, so we're just getting to know him, so I tend to think he's going to survive at least for a little while, probably half a season minimum. We've got Glenn. There was some rumors, but I think those rumors at this point are incorrect. I don't think Glenn's going to die at this time. I think he's going to make it this season. I think so. Maggie, no, I don't think so. Eugene, Tara, Abraham, that whole group, I think they're all probably safe. They're not even in the midst of what's going to happen anyway. They're on their own. They're going to head back. In terms of a death, would one of them just randomly be killed by a walker or something? I doubt it. Some people have said, Trev, do you think Abraham killed Eugene when he hit him so hard that he hits the thing, blood across his head, and passes out on the cement? No, I don't think he's dead. No, I don't think Eugene's dead. And I think there's a lot we're going to see from Eugene. So, no, I don't think Eugene's going to be killed off at any point in time soon. Gabriel, Michonne. Again, Gabriel knew. Michonne, no. I don't really think so. They could. But I wouldn't say she's likely necessarily. And then, of course, Judith, I would think is probably safe. I would have to say. So I think that's pretty much everybody. Like I said, so many characters, I may have missed someone or forgotten somebody, but I think that's pretty much everyone. So just to go over it again, most likely, of course, Dawn's characters, people from the hospital there. Rick and the others, I think, are safe. Carol, Beth, most likely, I'd say. Probably Beth tops my list at this time for which character I think is going to die next, going to be the next main character. Then I'll go from there. Tyrese, Sasha, maybe, that doctor, Dr. Edwards, probably. And after that, it could be any of the others, but I don't see them as likely. Every so often, though, I feel like they like to throw in, some kind of crazy character death that we never saw coming. Like they did with Andrea, like do that with Michonne or somebody. Who knows? I don't know. But just to kind of separate the comic book series from the TV series even more, which they have been doing, I almost feel like they might continue to onwards with that. They might continue to do that and throw in some curveballs for us. Like season 3 had a lot of those. If you look at it, T-Dog and Andrea Milton, a lot of those were not very, especially Andrea's, was not predictable at all. We all were pretty much convinced she was safe. So anyway, should be an awesome mid-season finale. Really looking forward to it. Don't know if it's going to top last year's with Too Far Gone, because that was bananas. But I'm thinking we're going to get at least 1, probably 2, maybe even 3 of our main Survivor Corps characters' deaths. Maybe Tara or somebody like that also. I think I forgot to mention. Maybe afterwards, but not right away, I don't think. I think everybody in Abraham's group right now, at least, is safe. So let me know who you guys think is going to die next. That's the best I can do in terms of predictions right now. I'm going with Beth or Carol as most likely. Not based on any spoilers. Haven't seen anything that's confirmed or anything like that. Not interested in that. Just doing my own predictions and who I think is. I think it's fun to try to... One of the most fun things about The Walking Dead, what's going to happen next, trying to guess what's going to happen next. So let me know what you guys think about all of that. Write yours below, maybe just your top 3. Which 3 characters do you see being killed off next for the mid-season finale? And yeah, pretty much all I got to say for this one. If you guys like the video, do me a solid. You know what to do. Thumb it up, please. If you want to help support the channel, please share it. Please favorite it. Helps prevent trolls from flagging, and that's always appreciated. Help support the channel. And like I said in my previous videos, the overall mid-season predictions for what I think is going to happen with the story, I will try to get back up and running, or I will redo it and post it early this week, probably late this weekend, sometime like that. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say for this one, guys. I'll see you for the next one, so I'll call it here. Trev, and I'm saying peace.